Welcome back everyone to another episode on Beer, Bourbon, and Games. I am your host Chris, and today on the channel we are going to take a look at another bourbon. Today it is E.H. Taylor's Small Batch Bottled in Bond. So grab your favorite glass, pour yourself a drink, and let's kick back and start the review. Now, E.H. Taylor is a Buffalo Trace product. Buffalo Trace has a lot of very good products between the actual Buffalo Trace, E.H. Taylor, Eagle Rare, Blanton's, Weller, you name it, Pappy Van Winkle. They've got a lot coming out from their actual warehouses, but E.H. Taylor is steeped in history. He is said to be one of the first people to ever make bourbon. Everywhere you turn, though, there are a lot of people using history as marketing, whether it be Old Forester being the first bourbon. None of that really matters. All we want to know on this channel is it good? That's the age-old question. How does this taste, and is it worth your money? Your hard-earned money. It is $40. Which isn't terrible. There are definitely bourbons that are way cheaper and bourbons that are way more expensive, but this is the entry level for the E.H. Taylor. So we are going to take a look at whether we think this is worth the 40 bucks we're spending. This is a 50% ABV or 100 proof if you prefer, but it does include this awesome canister. I love the design of this. I don't know if this is gonna it's gonna taste good. I've honestly never had this before, but this canister, this looks absolutely awesome. I love this as a display piece. It's definitely something you could talk about if people are coming over. I think it would get people interested in bourbon in general. But let's open it up, and inside we have our actual bottle. Now I will tell you, this is a 750 milliliter bottle like normal, but this is a heavy bottle. I don't know if anyone here has ever had this that's watching this video, but this is a lot heavier than a normal bottle. I feel like this is some really sturdy glass. That's kind of really weird to say, but this bottle is a lot heavier than normal, so that's pretty cool. The label has a really awesome texture feel to it as well. Pretty much the same exact design as what's on the outside. Nothing crazy. There is some history on the back. I am not going to bore you with all that extra stuff, but this is made in Frankfort, Kentucky. Buffalo Trace is amazing. So let's go ahead and see what we actually think, though, of the liquid inside. That is the important part. So we are going to crack open the actual plastic here. We're gonna get into the juice and see how it tickles our fancy. Wow, that's a good smelling cork, if I do say so myself.
How you doing?
It's a very nice color in the bottle. Let's see if it looks the same actually out of the bottle. Now, if we look at the actual bourbon, we have a light copper color. This does come from Warehouse C, if that means anything to you. The mash bill, unfortunately, is not disclosed, but that's not surprising. There's only a few mash bills from Buffalo Trace, so it can't be too different overall from the other ones. Most likely, it's just a different spot in the warehouse. Very nice smelling. Light smells of raisins, dried cranberry, some chocolate on the nose, light vanilla, caramel, and a little bit of nougat is kind of coming through as well. It smells very sweet. Light on ethanol. It's not burning my nose. There's not a lot of ethanol smells on this. Overall, I would say this should probably be pretty full-bodied, and it should be, I'm thinking, a little bit on the sweeter side, but not crazy sweet. Is it worth your money? Let's find out. So after the first sip, I've got to say, the flavor profile of this actually took me by surprise a little bit. Now, I was smelling a lot of very, very sweet smells. A lot of caramel, vanillas, all those very typical things. Some chocolate. But right off the bat, right on the front of my tongue, I hit a like hot tamale, like a red hot, the candies, the red hots. That is the first thing that came to my mind. There was some cinnamon forwardness, almost like a light big red just kind of presented itself. Now after that mellowed out a little bit, that flavor kind of rolled down my tongue and went down a little bit. There was no Kentucky hug. However, it went from the red hot and smoothed itself out to some chocolate flavors, some light notes of malted chocolate mixed in with some caramel and vanilla, and they all intertwined very nicely. It wasn't as oily as I thought it would be. There is a little bit of oilness to it, but not as bad as what I would think it was from just the look of it. Let's take another sip here though. The spiciness kind of mellowed out that second sip. A lot of wood flavors overall, and I think it has evened out and mellowed out very nicely here. The cinnamon kind of went away. I guess my palate got used to it. I have oak mixed with some sweet caramel and a little bit of light vanilla here. I got a little bit of a spearmint flavor in here right now. Like the spearmint candies, very, very good. This is a very complex bourbon. I've taken 3 sips, and overall each one has taken me kind of a little bit different part of this journey, all to make a complete package here. This is a fascinating bourbon. And now the sweetness is back. The spearmint has kind of subsided. This is a really weird bourbon. The flavors now in my mouth are all mixing together. Definitely a medium body, moving more towards almost the long part. We've got a very refreshing, long-lasting bourbon flavor. The oak tones are slightly coating my mouth, but there's so much sweetness and caramel and light chocolateness in here that is incredible. That initial red hot that kind of was off-putting to me has subsided. That was sip 1 and that's it. I've never had a bourbon that has changed itself so much in the course of just a few sips. I look forward to seeing how this bottle changes and matures as the bottle is open. Once you crack it open, it kind of does change itself in character a little bit. I kind of look forward to seeing how that does, but let's do a little bit more here. This bourbon is a unicorn. It's a mythical creature. It just keeps changing. Every single time I think I figure it out, it just morphs a little bit more, but the caramel in that sip just boom, popped right forward. The oak is back. The slight chocolatiness. This, okay, I wasn't gonna recommend this from the first sip. The overwhelming red hot tamale type was not super inviting to me, and I think the Eagle Rare was better compared to that first. But we've taken, I think, 5 or 6 sips now, and every single time this has changed slightly. The profile has just gotten more and more enjoyable. This, my friend, is outstanding. $40, bottled in bond, 100 proof bourbon, no age statement, but who cares? All you care about out there is flavor, and if you can get this for retail price, hopefully you can. Highly recommend it. Now, don't go paying those secondary prices. I know they're everywhere on the internet. I'm in groups out there. If you're in groups, make sure you ask around. Ask what people are paying. Shout out to a very awesome group that I am in. The Facebook group is just absolutely filled with awesome people that are constantly sharing their thoughts on bourbon, scotch, whiskey in general. You want to make sure that you go into one of those groups, make friends with people, and just listen to their recommendations, see what people think. There is absolutely great bourbon out there. Maybe there's something you've never heard of or you never pulled the trigger on because you're not quite sure. Those groups are the perfect place to kind of bounce ideas off of, ask people if they've had something, and just kind of go for it. You can learn so much from those groups. So I Drink and I Know Things is a good group on Facebook. There's a couple of others like the Bourbon Sippers group that I'm also a part of, and I can't say enough about how nice the people are in those groups. So do yourself a favor, join one of those groups. If you have not yet done so and you like this video, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about E.H. Taylor or Buffalo Trace in general, or anything. I look forward to just talking to you about bourbon. I'm an absolute avid fan of the spirit. So if you're avid about it and you want to say something, down below is your place to do so. Think about hitting the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. That will let you know when I release new content. It varies between bourbon reviews, beer reviews, and sometimes gaming content, but let's admit, bourbon and beer is delicious. I do more of that than anything else. Guys, I appreciate you. If you're still here, cheers to you. Remember, guys, this bourbon isn't going to drink itself. We're going to have to help it.